my name is Craig Booth, and I am the founder and principal of Channel Force Incorporated. I am also the host of the Channel Minute podcast. With me today, I have a special guest, Celio Rosa. Celio has been instrumental in helping me with building the MP3 process. He's also been involved with editing the book, the Partner-Powered Revenue Revolution that's coming out next week. So Celio, welcome. I'd love for you to just give a quick introduction to our audience.
Thank you, Craig. Appreciate it. That's really a pleasure. Working myself with partners since a long time. I'm based in Brazil. I work with partners in Latin America, and many years working with indirect sales, co-sell, resell, and I learned a lot from Greg himself from his first book, Channel Force, and I'm looking forward to see this next one coming up, Revenue. It was a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to be here and to be part of this.
Yeah, no, thank you. And Celio, a little bit more I'm going to expound upon as far as you go with our audience. So Celio is literally the nicest man in the world, and he has been such a pleasure to work with. It's uncommon to find somebody as nice as you, but also as talented as you are. And again, I can't thank you enough for all that you've done to help shape the book, help shape some of the concepts that we've been working on. I think you and I have been corresponding back and forth for well over a year now, sharing and exchanging ideas. And I think you've helped to shape a lot of the thought processes that I have. So, the success of this book and the success of this process, a lot of this has to do with input from you, Celio. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. No, it was a pleasure. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So let's jump back in here. Let's jump into our first question here, Celio. So what are your thoughts on the biggest challenges facing channel leaders today?
I think that all channel leaders face the same pressure. Doesn't matter the industry, if it's software or anything, it's how to make channels relevant. I have experience in my career that, especially for chief revenue officers, VP of sales, they might see sometimes channels as a necessary evil, I would say, that they have to live with. They have to leave because they like to have partners and so on. But in the end of the day, they are after the revenue. And the worst thing that can happen for VP of sales or a CRO is to have channel leaders that just generate activities but no revenue. And the reason for that is because they have maybe a big ecosystem of dormant partners. And I have seen this and lived this, and the only way to really change this is to have active partners, proactive partners that really bring results. And that's, I think, is the biggest challenge for all channel leaders, is to just move from a dormant ecosystem of partners, just active based, not really with a focus on sales or results, make them relevant. I think this is the biggest challenge.
Yeah. So by the way, I think that's a really great segue, to be honest with you. I didn't even set you up for that. So that was nice that you and I are on the exact same page. So I agree with you. I think some of the biggest challenges that channels face is really the unstructured nature of the last mile of the channel. And it creates lots of issues, especially when we're talking about alignment between the direct sales team for the vendor as well as the channel team within the company. We're talking two different languages. Partnerships, we always talk about partnerships, and we talk about companies and entities and enablement and onboarding and all those type of things, where our sales teams, they're really focused on revenue. They're focused on
results,
sales and results and those type of things. So there's this disconnect. And part of what this MP3 process that you and I have been involved with It is really about taking and moving the channel downstream. We are shifting into more of a sales operations model than a true partnerships model. And that sales operations model looks like this slide here, where foundationally at the very bottom we have a partnership methodology and we have a program foundation, which the channel today is really, really good at. We have partner relations management, so how we're managing those partners, what we're doing in that regard. Again, today's channel is very good at that. When it comes to sales acceleration, so how do we plan the sales acceleration? How do we create the processes that and the execution strategies for our partners that generate sales for them and for us? And then how do we performance manage that? We're typically very, very poor at doing that. And
Absolutely.
the digital selling side of it, how do we integrate technology in to help our partners capture more of the market? So MP3 is about bringing this entire foundation and bringing a brand new process that again shifts to a structured performance model. So we're no longer just sort of ad hoc art of partnering. We are literally building the revenue roadmaps that we need to hit, the metrics we need to hit, establishing a production line process to produce sales, and then measuring that production at the seller level. So that's what structured performance is for our audience. I know you know this very well. So I want to give that background. So let me ask you, Celio, how do you see structured performance helping revenue leaders solve the problems that we had just talked about earlier?
Well, the good thing about MP3 is that really give this structure, how to go through when you start by, okay, defining accounts, which is clear from the start, from the beginning to everybody. So you can plan your territory, you can define for all the sales, direct or indirect sales team, who does what. I mean, this is a tremendous help because then there's no surprise. It's not like hoping for the best. I mean, just hoping that, okay, a genie or something will happen.
Yep.
and pray for good results. So this is the foundation, I think. And then based on this, you can see channels as your extension or your like arms going beyond, especially in Latin America, where, I mean, I see a huge territory. The economy is not as big as North America or Europe. So you have to be really smart to work with partners. With your own team, you will never be able to cover all the territories.
Yep.
So you need to have a structure how to approach and revisit your partners on regular basis. Sorry. And this is the foundation. You need to have this. And then once you have this clearly defined, who does what, okay, what the direct sales will do, what the indirect or channel leaders will do with partners, then you start, okay, let's put rules on the game, incentives, who gets what, and then you go into, okay, let's plan activities, not only for the sake of activities, but activities that are really focused to bring results. I mean, we're going to target that specific customer or that specific industry. And on top of that, you have to have a kind of a discipline to follow up with partners. It's not just, hey, partner, go there and try your best. I mean, you have to have this structure to have a regular follow-up and measure the progress. Okay, you move from stage, I don't know, each company has a different sales structure, but how it goes from, I don't know, from prospect to commitment or forecast, and all these processes that you see in every industry sales. And the more you share with the partner, the more you will be forecasting accurate because you have feedback. And the value of the partner when you do this is tremendous because the partner, maybe they will have a different perspective into the customer. They will double check for you if the customer has a budget, what are the real intentions, timelines, when it's coming. Maybe they have contacts with people that you don't have. So when you put all this in a structured way, then you will have feedback and information. You can triangulate information, and this is helpful for any sales organization. Then, of course, once you start getting sales, or messing this, you can structure your sales or channel organization, even your sales organization, to fit that. So we will know how many partners you need, or what it will be, how many phone calls or contacts or meetings or events that partner has to do in order to bring that result that you expect.
Yeah, 100%. By the way, great answer. I would just sort of summarize it in this way. The structured performance gives us efficiencies that we don't have in the channel today, gives us the roadmap so we can actually plan the metrics for how we're going to generate 2x revenue growth. And the fact that we are moving downstream and leveraging active sellers, and we know how many active sellers we need. We know how many account engagements we need. We know how many outreaches, how many meetings by solution to generate the revenue. It allows us to actually shrink the size of the channel. And you had talked about, having these large partner ecosystems where a majority of those partners are dormant. What if we had a much smaller ecosystem to manage, but we were managing active sellers, and we were managing the sellers to the metrics that we need to go out and hit? We could reduce the cost of the channel and produce better revenue results. And that's really what MP3 is doing. So
Absolutely. And I was just going to add, sorry, Greg, just
yeah,
to comment, is that one thing that normally CROs love is predictability, right? You can have a much better way to forecast things when you have, maybe, like I said, less partners, but active partners, and in your close contact, you have the structure to monitor their progress on weekly basis. So that brings, a different perspective into the end of the quarter. Where you're going. There's no like big surprises. There's no like, for good and for bad. There's no like, oh, this big deal that you take from out of the sleeve on the end of the quarter. But at the same time, you don't get bad surprise either. That deal is sleep or something happened.
Yeah. No, you're spot on. And the tools that we have with the MP3 process solve all the attribution issues that you were as well. And that leads right into those comments. We know exactly what we're doing, who we're calling on, where we are in the process of calling on that individual. As we're progressing into developing deals, we understand the development of stage of the deal, where we are in that process. So you're right, it covers off on a lot of different issues that the channel is facing today. And I think we've done a good job solving those. So let me jump into the next question here. This is actually a little bit of a slide that has some of our MP3 intellectual property in here. But how has adopting a structured performance go-to-market model helped you over the last few years? So Celio, I know you've used some of the tools and you've helped to develop and craft some of these. So I'll let you explain this slide, or at least talk about it, and then I'll jump in.
Yeah, I really love this from a long time. All this, this is really a very useful tool for all channel leaders. And the way that I use this was a way that really impact salespeople, because in the end they were surprised with what this particular tool gave as feedback to them. So it starts actually reading from the right to the left on the other way. That's what was the way that I used this, because I went from the quota setting, what was necessary for the sales rep or the sales team to reach, and said, okay, if you want to have, in this particular case, $1.5 million as a quota, what do you need? So let's walk back from the right to the left. And then we start saying, okay, let's do assumptions. What is your prospect in terms of the conversions of your deals? How many pipeline you need in terms to convert? What is your prospects? How many prospects do you need? And then you start moving into what is the maturity of the market? Do you expect in this territory this, and then maybe in another one a different one? So you can change these figures, and then we'll bring it to what coverage do you have? How many contacts do you have in that particular territory? And that brings you to how many partners you will need, or how many sales partners, active sales partners you will need, assuming that each one will have a certain coverage or will take care of a certain number. So you can play with all these variables, and it will bring back to how many partners do you need in the end of the day. And that's the big surprise for channel managers. They think that, oh, I have a good partner, I have a good friend, and that's enough, or maybe one or two. But they will not make the number if they keep thinking this way. So it's a good tool to force them to not just accommodate with their good friends or their good partners and good friends, but say, hey, okay, I will keep and take care of my good partners, good faithful friends. But in order for me to reach the quota, I will need more partners because I will need more coverage. I will need, I mean, in the end of the day has 24 hours, right? We work 8, 10 hours, 12 hours a day. So you cannot expect one partner to bring all of those prospects to you. And then if you don't have those prospects, the conversions and all this, you won't have the quota that you need. So it's a tremendous tool, very practical, very hands-on, and very easy for the sales reps to understand how this can help. So I really love this. It was really great
Yeah,
to use.
no, and I appreciate that, Celio. And again, this is the new channel ops math equation that that's obviously part of the MP3 process and part of the tool sets. We built our tool sets around this math equation, the way that it works out. And so, to your point, this is just pure math. We're looking at the number of active sellers that we need. An active seller is prospecting in 4 accounts. That's 160 accounts that we've got coverage in. If we generate 35 meetings out of those outreaches, that's a 22% engagement rate. If 30% of those meetings convert to a quoted opportunity at 150K average deal size for those, those meetings, that's 1.57 million that we've put into that top of funnel. And the fact that we can show how executing a set of sales plays and capturing that prospecting activity generates all the data for this dashboard. This becomes the way that the channel is managed in the MP3 process. And this dashboard is produced by partner, it's produced by sales play, it's produced by CAM, and this becomes actionable data. If I look at this and say, hey, my engagement rates are really good, but my conversion rates are really low, why is that? This is giving me data points. Or maybe my engagement rates and conversion rates are great, but my average deal size is way off. So this gives us inspection points that we can go back at the partner level, at the sales play level, and at the CAM level to make adjustments, which is something that the channel has failed to do. So this is a really good and unique way to really approach channel management and territory management. All right, let me jump to the next slide here. I'm going to put you on the spot because I know that you're talking about me and Channel Force, but what has your experience been working with Channel Force? I know we've done a few things together, but tell my audience what your experience has been.
Well, first of all, Craig, I mean, of course, it's amazing your talent and your experience and how you articulate this and in words, in text, in the book, but also in actions when you help a company. I know that, you do this, you sit with sales team, do this consultant work and put in a structural way to move the needle for sales organization. So this is really, I've seen this and I think it's great. So my experience, besides sharing thoughts and see how structured things are, and it's funny because we say today that we are in the age of data, everything is data, but when it comes to decisions, we seems to base our decisions in emotions or thoughts from the past, I don't know, and we don't look at the data. So what is great about Channel Force is that you show a structured way, and I just mentioned before about the tool, how when you put like the quota and then you walk through with the sales rep, he realized based on the data that he will not make the quota because he doesn't have have the enough number of active
Yep.
sellers, partners, or things like this. So I don't have to convince. He will see by himself based on the data. I think this is the biggest legacy I have taken from Channel Force, and plus the experiences and how you managed to articulate this. So I really appreciate, and I know that any company that worked with you has seen the needle to move.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And just so our audience knows, you and I did a little side project, writing a document for you that's been amazing. So I'm going to put a link into that document, kind of 7 steps for anybody that wants to build a better partner program. And so Celio is also a thought leader in his own right, and I appreciate working with you. So I would encourage people to reach out to you as well. So, all right, we're coming down to the wire here. Let's go to that last 2 slides here. So what should our audience expect from the book and the tool set? So the book is right here, the Partner Powered Revenue Revolution. I know you've been fully involved and engaged in editing the book and helping with some of the content. So, Celio, what should people expect from the book, at least in your pass and reading it? And,
Yeah, well, first, I love this process. It was great to read and review it. And I think that there's all this new prospect in terms of how AI can help and all this new digital sellings today that we have through social media and so many other things that we didn't have in the past. So this is all great. But for me, the key differentiation, and I believe that this is really going to shake those who work with partners, is the message or the takeaways for the CRO, for the VP of sales.
Yep.
Because in the end of the day, it's not the channel leaders that I think. Channel leaders, of course, they will love this book and they will appreciate and take lessons and all this MP3 process and all this. But in the end of the day, if you don't convince probably the area managers, which is the one they are the one who are the one that will really decide where the money goes, or the effort, the resources, and all this. So they are the ones that he really need to be convinced. Different than just preach to the choir, right? To those who already support the idea. So what is great about this book, you have a takeaway or a kind of a message to the VP of sales, to the chief revenue officers, because then based on data, going back to the same point, they are the ones that will say, oh, maybe, okay, there is a consistency here, there's facts, so I can maybe support the channel manager or the channel leader now much better, because I know that based on this methodology, they will bring better results to the overall company. So the sales VP, in the end of the day, dollar is dollar. Doesn't matter if it came from the partner or came directly through direct sales force, right? So he will see this difference, and I think will help channel leaders to get more attention.
No, that's perfect. So again, I appreciate all of your support. Thank you for spending time on the podcast. I'll just sort of finish it out with this slide. So anybody listening to this, it's less about the book, but it really is about the performance and helping our audience, the readers, the people that adopt MP3. It's really about helping you guys create better revenue streams, attain your numbers. So what we're looking to do is really help people generate 2x revenue growth at half the cost. Structured performance is going to really answer a bunch of questions that channels are struggling with right now. We're going to talk about adding AI-driven outreach into the partner program. The book goes into digital selling platforms. It goes into revenue planning. It goes into active seller prospecting. So how do we turn up active sellers? It goes through structured account coverage, strategy execution intelligence. So we're going to give people a different view of the channel and a different way to approach channel, something completely different than what they've ever seen. So anyway, Celio, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your time. I appreciate you, connecting. Audience, if you guys get a chance, reach out to Celio. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he's definitely worth having on your LinkedIn network. So thank you again, Celio. We'll talk soon.
No, thank you. Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it. All the best. Bye-bye.